Do I need a speaker? Yeah, I probably will. Yeah, yeah, my guess.
Okay, so while you're trying to do that, can I tell them how we met?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think this story is really funny. I'm sure Robert doesn't. So I was working out in Lifetime how many years ago? Like 5?
That'd be 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while.
And I'm just looking out and I see these 2 guys come in chairs and they are working out really hard. So they're in the gym. Robert's leading this other guy in a chair and they're doing one of those pull things that you would put
Yeah, sled.
sleds with the weights
Yeah.
behind them. So they're using their chairs, pulling these sleds of weights, and I'm just watching this. Then I see
There you
him
go.
doing. Stay there. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm like, I want to go up and talk to these 2 guys, and I'm like, nope, I have a policy. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to interrupt their workout at all. So basically, 2 more times I saw him, and I couldn't help my stalking abilities were just beyond. So I went up to Robert and started talking to him. And I'm like, I'm really sorry to interrupt you, and he was just so nice that. And I got to meet the guy you were working with. So.
Steve actually graduates this year.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
This year. Yeah.
Wow. So my stalking paid off because now he's come for 5 years, multiple classes, twice, and it's really been amazing to hear his story. So I'll just let you go.
Yeah. So I'll start off by talking a little bit about myself. As you said, my name is Robert. You can call me Robert, Rob. No Robbie or Bobby though. Sorry, it's reserved for my mother. No. But just a little bit about me. As you can tell, I am a paraplegic. T10, T12 is my injury. I'll start kind of from the beginning. I was born with 2 different malformations and a syndrome. First one started when I was 2 years old. They went in and thought I had a hernia on my kidney and my abdomen area, and they ended up puncturing. They tried to biopsy it, and when they did that, it ended up erupting and puncturing a hole through the side of my kidney. What resulted was the next 2 years, my lymphatic system. You guys don't know. Assume you guys all know what the lymphatic system is. My lymphatic system ended up leaking 5 liters of lymphatic fluid per hour at 2 years old, which is like your entire body at 2 years old. And they weren't able to stop the leakage. So I went through about, they've lost track of the surgery count, but it's assumed in the 70 to 75 range of surgeries. I have scars all the way from my chest, all the way down my head. But I cut the open, tried to stitch them shut, and went through 20-hour surgery multiple times. And so after a year and a half, I finally caught a virus, believe it or not, that ended up stopping the leakage. Just out of nowhere, just ended up happening. I got released from the hospital, and they were like, what the world? Like, I mean, we had the top doctors in the world dealing with this. I was talking to everybody. And so after that, I was fine. I still had pulling in my right leg just because they had to take out some lymphatic nodes during one of the surgeries because they balled up and they weren't sticking into tissue like they were supposed to. So once I took that out, my right leg swells because I had no way of getting the fluid back up. So right now, I don't know if you guys can see, but I wear these compression garments just to keep the fluid out of my leg. Otherwise, it kind of balloons up over time. So I was fine. I could walk, play sports. Couldn't play contact sports. Couldn't play football or hockey or anything like that. They were afraid if I got hit too hard, it would start the fluid flowing again, and I'd have more issues. So normal kid, went to school, did everything. And then when I was 10 years old, I was about to go on spring break. I was actually on a field trip out of Beacon Prairie, and we went to, I can't remember, the Arts Museum or something like that, and I ended up having this really bad burning sensation on my back. So it really took a match to get my back on fire, and I tried to run off a moving bus. That's how bad the pain was. So we went to the doctor, said, hey, what's the deal, what's going on? He said, we got a gallstone. Why don't we send you down to the Mayo Clinic? We're going to have you take out the gallstone just because it's not common in kids, and that should solve your problems. Like, sure, it sounds good, fine. Took it out. I was going on spring break the next day. So my mom drove me home. We barely dragged me to the hospital, to the airport, and we ended up catching the flight, went to Arizona the next morning. I woke up the next morning, still having trouble walking, going to breakfast, ended up hitting the floor on the way. Just collapsed, just couldn't walk anymore. My dad picked me up. He's like, yeah, it's probably just his week. He needs electrolytes, whatever. We'll get him something, he'll be fine. Walked through the door, they took me back to the ER, and they figured out that I have what's called AVM, it stands for arterial venous malformation. It's a malformation of arteries in the spinal cord. It's not very common in the spinal cord, it's mostly in the brain. Actually, some people have them that die with them, and they never knew they had them. They lived. Some people live 90 years, they have them, they never know. And they never upped. But mine, for whatever reason, decided to shift blood flow, and they upped it. So I was paralyzed because of that. Now, you can believe in fake God, whatever you want to talk, whatever you want to believe in. But the world's leading specialist in AVMs was 2 miles down the road from me, and had just gotten back in the country that morning. If he's not there, I'm dead. Like if I'm at the Mayo Clinic, I'm dead. Nobody at the Mayo Clinic can deal with this. So luckily, he went in, did 2 surgeries, took about 15 hours each. He was able to embolize and stop the pressure because the pressure was building up my spinal cord. It was going in my T10, T12, it was building up to my neck. I eventually be a quad or just be dead. It would burst my brain basically. So he stopped that. On the way out of the last surgery, he caught the glue from the catheter on an artery and ripped the artery on accident, and I stroked, which is why I don't have any feelings in my legs. Then I caught pneumonia, then a number of other things. And so I finally, after a month, was able to fly back here. I did my rehab at Gillette Children's down in St. Paul, and was released from the hospital about a month later. But the big thing with getting out of the hospital was luckily I was 10 years old, and I say that, I know some people are like, well, why would you want to be paralyzed when you're 10? Why would you want another 10 years of walking? When you're 10, you're innocent, right? I mean, remember when you were 10, you didn't really notice anything different than other things. You weren't trying to adjust in life. You were in elementary school, or in 5th grade. So I had time to adjust. I had time to find the new lifestyle that I was going to have. Now, obviously, a lot of questions. But I did a lot of therapy to start out with, and I was actually trying to recover because the thought was, well, he didn't sever his spine, right? I wasn't in a car crash. I didn't separate my spine. There should be some connection there. So I ended up going out to Baltimore, working with Dr. John McDonald, who's Christopher Reeve's doctor. If you all guys know who Christopher Reeve is. Superman, quadriplegic, fell off a horse, passing because of a pressure sore. But so I ended up working with his doctor. They're doing this whole thing out there where they're trying to reteach the brain that if it does a biking motion, for example, something that you learned when you were younger, that it'll teach your brain to walk again. Your brain just knows pattern, right? So I did that for a while. I regained a little bit of function. My toes moved by themselves. That's kind of weird. They just twitch like this all the time. And then my right leg, just the muscles contract every once in a while. But nothing major that I could, stand up with gravity at least walk. I could do it in a pool kind of, but nothing big. So I fell down that path for a while. I got a little frustrated with it, to be honest. So I just kind of gave it up and started focusing more on school and sports, more specifically sports. We're the only state in the country that has adaptive athletics at our high school level. We have soccer, hockey, and baseball, softball. And I played all 3 originally, and then I only played soccer and hockey the last year, my junior and senior year, because I also played wheelchair basketball. Wheelchair basketball is a 9-month sport, and it's the only sport you can play past high school in college, at least. So that's why I pursued basketball more than any of the other sports. So that was a big thing for me because I knew that I had to find a purpose, right? Number one thing in purpose. You have to have a purpose to go on, to move on, to do something in life. And I said, okay, well, I don't really know what my purpose in life is, but I'm going to start somewhere, and I'm just going to go with it, right? Passion, I love sports, I'm going to roll with it. Ended up turning into a big-time thing for me. Like I said, I played 9 months out of the year, worked out all the time, played basketball, loved it. Ended up going to the University of Missouri for a year to play wheelchair basketball there. And I ended up graduating from Eden Prairie High School as well. So once I left Eden Prairie, as I said, I went to Mizzou, played wheelchair basketball there, was studying, and it did not go well. Like, really did not go well. I ended up breaking my back in 3 separate places, twice in the same year, and then ended up in the ER 3 other times for either infections or other issues, and it was bad. I always tell a story after the first semester, I was so tired, because we practiced from 6 to 8:30 in the morning, then we went and lifted, then we went to class, then people don't think about this, but we're in chairs, right? We have other things to attend to, medical things, right? Things that take time. And on top of all that, so I was getting about 4 hours of sleep a night on top of going to tournaments and playing 5 games a weekend in 24 hours. The first semester, once finals were over, I slept for 17 hours and they thought I was dead. They had to like knock down my dorm door because they thought I was really just dead. Like, they didn't know where I was. So I ended up, went to the right. So I ended up coming back from Missouri just because I knew that I couldn't handle the pressure of playing school, everything. My back couldn't handle the pressure of it. So I tried to rehab. Rehab did not work out well. I kept breaking my back. I broke it 5 more times, which was really, really painful. And so I ended up getting depressed because I couldn't play, couldn't work out, was feeling pain all the time. I was like 9 out of 10 on the pain scale almost every single day. Basically sleeping 18 hours out of the day, maybe up to 6 if I got lucky. And so the pressure kept hitting. I was still in school in the middle of this. I don't know how I did it, but I was in school. I finally had to drop out of school because I had 25 infections in a row over the next 2 years. The last 3 I caught on my 21st birthday, and they nearly killed me. It was cellulitis in my right leg, strep in my bloodstream, and C. diff in my intestines. And John will tell you, my buddy who comes in, he literally carried me back home. I was 60 over 40 with my BP, and my heart rate was 230. I was, once again, about 20 minutes from kicking the bucket in my lower ER. So, doctor overflowed me with fluid. You can imagine what happened. My lymphatic system started bleeding again. So, I had to, once I got out of the infection problem, it took about a month of antibiotics at home. I spent a month bedridden, couldn't even move. Every time I sat up, I would cough up fluid because my lungs had filled with lymphatic fluid. My entire right lung was in a ball. My chest wall was fluid. So they put a chest tube in, drained the chest, all the fluid, and I ended up going from 135 pounds down to 90 in about 3 days. They also told me, I don't know if you know, but your lymphatic system processes fat. You can't, so therefore I couldn't eat fat. I was no fat. I wasn't allowed to eat food. I was eating a lot of water for the next 2 months. They said, you're on TPN nutrition. My hair started falling out, kept losing the weight, couldn't work out, had a quick line in my arm. I just pretty much left all day, sugar water. So, I mean, that's what TPN is. They tell you to vitamins and minerals in it, but that's not really true. So, I ended up doing that. Finally, they let me on a no-fat diet, which is, once again, still sugar, because what holds food together other than fat? So, I just ate sugar again for the next month. Then finally got on a low-fat diet of 20 grams or less. Finally, 6 months later, I was able to eat again. I just kind of tested the waters and said, listen, to older, it's not healthy. So once again, I was completely fine. Started playing basketball again, started working out. Still struggled with my health a little bit here to there. Ended up finding a place where I ended up working, a clinic where I ended up working and getting patient care. Went through that for a year, and then at the end of that, I caught a blood clot in my left leg. They found it on accident right before I was supposed to go to Japan to play for a USA team. And the blood clot was going all the way from my knee to my hip bone. So I had to cancel my trip, had to stay back, tried to deal with the blood clot. In the midst of that, I had a wound on my right foot that had started with all the 3 infections I originally had back when I was 21. What ended up happening is the bone got infected. And I don't know if you guys know, but when you have bone infected, there's no way to deal with it other than removing the bone. So originally they were going to amputate my toe and part of my foot. I was on vacation at the time. But they were going to amputate my toe and part of my foot. I didn't feel so right about it, so I spent the next 9 days in the hospital pushing back to the doctors, praying about it. And doctor finally walked in and said, listen, I don't have to take your toe, but I can just take the bone and move your toe. So they took the bone out of my right pinky toe. So I have a toe there now that has no bone in it. It's kind of like thing. And I mean, it was more for my mentality, right? Because I mean, what would you do if you looked down every day and literally your toe and part of your foot was just cut off? I was like, I can't do that. Like, I just mentally, I've lost enough in my life. I can't do that. So the doctor said, fine, we'll take care of it. So a month later, on my vacation in California, that was supposed to be relaxing, I finally got back home. Once again, was fine. And then this last summer, I actually figured out that the right bone in my hip. So you have your femur bone, right? And you have the neck, and you have the ball. I don't know what happened, but my neck and ball had disappeared. They're gone. So my hip just free floats now on my right leg. And they have no idea what happened to it. They have no idea where it went. It was just gone. I went in for routine X-rays, never knew there was a problem. It was like, yeah, your whole hip's gone. So, you know, when I look at you here again, you go, okay, you got to move on again. And, like I said, it doesn't affect me physically, so dealt with that. But now, knock on wood, I've been healthy for a year, year and a half. I've not been in the hospital, thank God. Playing basketball again, working. I currently work as a publicist for a public speaker, and then I'm also going to school right now, and then hoping against my parents and a lot of people's best wishes, my doctors especially, going back to play basketball again somewhere at some point. But we'll see if that ends up happening or not. But it's a really grueling sport, as you'll see here in a second. So, any questions from that? I know I probably just like blew all your guys' minds. Here's something else to blow your mind. So, lymphangiomatosis is the name of lymphatic condition. Arterial venous malformation is the name of the condition on my spine, and the two together make something called Purple-Trenae-Weber syndrome. The chance of having all three of them is 1 in 28 billion. So I'm the only documented case on the earth that has what I have, which is why I have to call the best doctors in the world to deal with some of this stuff. One of my doctors is retiring, and you just can't retire, you can't die, you can't do anything. Put him in bubble wrap to preserve his body, because I can't do that. So any so like, this is my buddy John and his girlfriend MJ.
Got a little lost. Good campus.
So anything, guys, you get. As I tell Kathy always, and I tell all of her classes, you can literally ask me anything. Like, I will not get offended. I will not take it personally. You can ask me anything. I'm here to help you guys learn, right? I'm here to help you understand what life is like in the chair, how to help other people. Whatever you want to know, just ask. I'm willing to answer anything. So I'll leave that there. But yeah, go for it.
What do your parents say about all this?
Well, the crazy part is I have younger twin sisters that are 2 years younger than me. They have no problems at all. Like, nothing. So it's kind of odd that this all happened to me. My parents, I know they say women can be saints. My dad is also a saint. Both my parents are saints. I mean, they've spent days, weeks, months, years in waiting rooms, knowing that their son could die. And I actually did die on the operating table when I was 2 years old and came back to life. I was for like 5 minutes and then coming back. So, I mean, there's stuff that they're strong. They're the strongest people I know. I mean, honestly, you almost lose your kid 4 times. I don't know how you go through that, but they're awesome people. They've supported me in everything I've done. Traveling. I mean, wheelchair basketball is a traveling sport. It costs money. They've taken me, as I said, across the country to go get therapy treatments that cost money. I mean, I know money's not a big thing, but then on top of it, they've just showed me unconditional love. I'm here to have. My dad has always been there. He slept in the hospital. I don't know if you guys have ever slept in the hospital, but it's impossible. It is literally impossible. And he was actually better than my nurses, to be quite honest. He was the one that ended up having to change pumps and everything because that's what he had to do in their lives. So, hope that answers.
So you'll understand when your mom says, rather
Do not go play wheelchair basketball. Well, we're going to try to broker a deal with the coach where I don't practice the full 2 hours every day and maybe go do shooting instead of banging my body against somebody else's and breaking my back. Because what ended up happening is, and there's the reason why this, so like, as you can see in this backrest, there's nothing here, but on this one there's a pole. I had to cut down this pole because this pole went into my back, and that's what fractured the vertebrae. So I was cutting down the cord. I'm like 120 pounds. I was 130 or something. And this kid hit me, he was like 330. So we got 200 pounds on somebody, and my front wheel turned and planted. And then when it planted, I flipped, and the chair just landed right on my back. I couldn't feel it at first, but as soon as the adrenaline wore off, I was like, oh, yeah. We go to ER for like me in, and they're like, yeah, you broke your back again. So yeah, that was awesome. And I broke ribs too in the process because the pole went in and it stuck up. And broke the bottom. So yeah, it was exciting. It was fun. But anyway, so a little bit about wheelchair basketball. I'm gonna show you guys first a video of us actually playing down in Las Vegas in February. I'm going to try to skip through this a little bit just because some of the things are, I was talking to each other about how bad we did in the first half, but I mean, we shot like 20%. It was 18 to 13 and a half. And we came back and we ended up beating 37-9 in the second half. Well, it was not pretty. I should say that. I couldn't hit water if I tried. So I'll talk a little bit while this is going. Wheelchair basketball, it's played, you have 5 people on the court, normal 3-point line, normal free throw line. The only difference is that the traveling is you have to do 2 pushes and then you have to dribble. You can't do more than 2 pushes. So you see a lot of guys, they keep the ball out in front of them. I try to keep the ball out in front of me. Don't really put the ball in the lap. Just try to move with it. The other thing that's different about wheelchair basketball is everybody's rated based on their disability. So it starts at 4.5, goes down by half a point, all the way down to 1. Out of the 5 people on the floor, you can't have more than 15 points. So that makes it even where you can't put a bunch of guys that have a lot of ability on them to try to beat the other team. As you can see, it's a lot different in wheelchair basketball in terms of you're able to stop people, you know.
That's huge.
Yeah. And the guy over there, he's like 6'5", 6'6", standing up, and his chair is like 6'1". So the name of the game is get the tall guy in the middle. That's the goal.
Easy. We got one. We got one. Go in. We got one.
Alright, so that's one of the fouls that you heard me yell there. What the guy did is you can't back up your chair and slam into somebody, or you can't get in their way while they're moving. You have to at least give enough time to where you allow the person to make at least one move. I think it's like a 2-push rule is what they call it. It was not a good shooting day for me, and I will happily admit that. I was not the 37 points in the second half.
Same calls as far as
Yeah, same guys started touching, like hitting them on the arm. You can charge somebody, like you lose control of your chair and slam into somebody. They call it a charge. Yeah, it will be called if you slam into somebody. You hit them head on, and so a little bit like about different guys' disabilities. Holden has CP. He can actually walk. So it means we have a limbs. But Holden, the fascinating part is Holden can't see out of one of his eyes. So he plays basically for time and with CP. So it's impressive. He's going to the University of Nebraska, Omaha next year. And then I'm going to skip ahead here because you guys a little bit better. So as I said, same 3-pointer. You can see a guy here in a second hit 2 shots. The guy number 12, just to give you an idea in terms of like average point scoring, he scores about 27 points a game. Yeah, so he sits at his chair is at 21 inches, which is what you can max out at. You can't build it any higher than that. But they don't want you to build a 30-inch chair and sit in the sky. So look how tall I am. It tilts easier. Yes, it does tilt easier. And you'll see that here in a second with one of the guys who'll fall over. You see, that guy uses his hips, so guys that are stronger, you gotta watch this. Number 2 is not happy. He wouldn't come shake our hands actually after the game.
What?
No, he was. Yeah, so you see, guys will get dumped over like that, and then a lot of them know how to get back up quickly. When you get to the college level and Paralympic level, you have to be able to get up in a certain amount of time. And I just want to kind of show, this shows the physicality of it. You see one of the guys trying to go for a ball here, and they all end up dumping each other. Watch. And then he just goes down.
Do you have to be able to get up in results?
So you know you can use a guy at the whistle. I was going to actually talk about that. So in wheelchair basketball, you don't have to get back up. If you're in the play, they stop the play. So they just say you're done. But some guys can't get up. Because, for example, Troy, he has his abs, and as you can see, he's an amputee. So it's easier for him to get up. He can pop up, and it's a lot easier for him to control the trunk. I don't have my trunk. I'm paralyzed from like here down. So when I'm trying to get up, it's hard for me to control my chair. So what I actually normally do, I don't have it on here right now because I shredded it off, but there's a tire, the air tube here that normally goes in the tires. I put it on the front here, and then when you push up, the tire, the tube grips the floor because it's rubber, and then you pop up, you just pull one motion. When you get to the USA level, it's pretty important that you actually be able to do that because if you can't get up and back into play when they won't blow the whistle, you have to be able to do that. So the top guys in the nation, world can get up. Some of them even like before they fall, they back up. I don't know how it happens, but it's just like down and back up. So this is kind of one of those things because I went to Australia. I went to Australia when I was 16. Ended up playing on the USA team then. We ended up taking gold, and then I've tried out for a couple other teams, but unfortunately my health issues kind of hurt me from going at that point in time. But still aspirations to play again at some point in time. But these guys, they're impressive when they get that to be that good. So and then I'm going to show you another video here. This one I always show every year because this is James Adams. James and I met at a U23 training camp for the USA team. And James, we come in the door, and he's my classification level. He's a class 1. And I thought, well, I've got this kid like in the bag. And not to be mean, James, if James sees this, but I thought I had him because he's a quad amputee. So he's amputated from here on both arms, and then he's amputated in his legs. And I'm like, this guy probably going to be able to shoot, right? So we're like an hour into the training session. He's shooting 3-pointers with no hands. And you see him here shooting it. But it's impressive how this kid is able to move even without having, oops. Oh, I was going to show you that in a second. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
All right. This is Paulie. What's going on? This is my friend James. James is from Atlanta, Georgia. He's 20 years old. James is a quadruple amputee, meaning he has 2 leg stumps and 2 arm stumps. And I asked him to hook me up to do a demonstration. James is at top end this week. Give it a share, man.
So Paul Schultz, the guy who started the video. Paul's one of the top players in the world. Been multiple Paralympics,
I've never
won
heard
gold
of him
medals,
play
stuff like that. But
James and I
Paul,
played together.
what they do is they bring guys out and they build their chair to whatever specifications that they want. So you can see James, he likes to sit forward in his seat, so he likes to sit kind of upright because that makes him taller and that gives him the ability to move better and it makes you spin faster, which for him is important because he uses his hips to propel himself. So once he gets going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you'll see he uses his hips here to turn. And so, I mean, what they're doing by having him do this is basically building his chair to the exact specifications, meaning the height that he wants in the front and the back, the seat width that he wants, the way the center of gravity, meaning where you sit on top of, makes a difference. Because you either spin faster or you spin slower. So everybody has their own type of little thing. Everybody changes their chair. I'm talking about half-inch type of stuff that people do with their chairs. And James had a specific way that he wanted to build his, so that's why you went out and popped in to go do that. And it makes a huge difference when you get the right chair, fit the right way, with the right people. So, any questions? I'll hop in my chair here in a second.
Oh, what is he?
I think he's just barely older than me, so 25.
Is he obviously still playing?
He still plays. Yeah, I don't know. I think out of Atlanta. I'm not entirely sure. They split it up this year. Normally, nationals is all in one place for everybody. So the Division One, Division Two, Division Three, which is all men's. It depends on your talent level for the teams. We're all usually together with the junior kids, meaning varsity and young under 12 years old, and then the women were also there. This year, for whatever reason, they didn't put them all together. So we're all at different weekends in different cities and different places. Which kind of stinks because you get to see everybody then normally, but and you get to see different talent play as well. Best player in the world plays D1, and it's impressive to watch him play. You get a chance to look him up. His name's Patrick Anderson. Check him out sometime. It's pretty crazy what he can do. And those top guys, they're sponsored by wheelchair companies, so they actually get a new chair usually every year to 2 years. Whereas the guys who don't get sponsored, so have to make a chair work for a little longer because each chair, the chair itself can cost anywhere depending on what you get on it between $3,500 to $5,000, and then the tires to buy a new wheel is about $400. So a pair of wheels costs $800. You get them more reinforced, you end up paying $1,500 for 2 wheels. So when you break a wheel, when you break spokes, when you bend wheels, it costs a lot. So the sponsor guys are the lucky guys because they just get all the good stuff. But normally in the past, your classes asked me about my training. Finally, I've started working with a different trainer, different mindset recently, and it's been amazing. We've been trying to include different exercises and not only incorporate every day things that I need to work on, but also my arms, especially taking care of my shoulders, because that's a big thing when you're in a wheelchair, right? You destroy your shoulders, and a lot of people have a lot of shoulder problems. So we've been starting doing some more training. So I just want to give you guys some ideas of exercises. And I know you guys, some of you are going down that path. A lot of questions asked about what I do. This first exercise, I'm doing dips. What I did is I pull up my chair, I lift up. I had the chain for extra weight because people think, well, your lower body's going to weigh down. My lower body doesn't weigh much because of all the atrophy I've had over time. So this just adds a little extra weight to it. Whoops. And we normally do this just to warm up. Sometimes I have to help with my legs just because they don't cooperate, but they will this day. All right, next what we did is we just took the Smith machine, the one that runs on tracks, and we just hooked it up top. That way I can do a pull-up bar because I can't reach the normal pull-up bars. So we just adapted it, and she's just holding my chair so I don't swing through because otherwise the chair starts to swing when I pull. And the chair adds about an extra 30 pounds. On here, I want to show you guys this one. So with the bench, what I wasn't able to do is do the bicep curl because it would hit my lap. So what we did is we turned the bench and then we pushed me up on the bench and put a dumbbell on the seat and then put a pad on the dumbbell so that I could sit on top of that. And then I belted myself in to the bench so that I could be able to bicep curl and I have no problem with it. On the bench press here, what we learned is that for people in chairs, you offer, normally if you go, guys go on bench, they want to max out, right? I'll pause this one for a second because they want to max out because they want the best strength out of it. What we learned is that when you don't have, I don't know how many of you have done the bench press, but when you bench press, right, you plant your feet, then you engage your abs, then you push up. I don't have any feet to plant that work, at least right now, and I don't really have my ab muscles to engage either. So all of it's coming straight from my arms and my shoulders. So normally where guys would go all the way down to the chest, we decided, no, we're going to go part of the way down and then we're going to go back up to not put the stress on my shoulders especially. So I said, I don't need to do it by the time I'm 40 years old. And then also, I don't know if you can see, but the belt, I belt myself in just to hold my chest down so I don't try to arch my back. And then it also keeps me from going like this and kind of falling off if I lose my balance for whatever reason. I don't know what it's like to do it with legs, but it's a lot harder when you don't have anything to plant. Yeah, and then here's the sled work that we end up doing. We do the pull, and then she's just holding my chair from the back. We tried other things, but I ended up holding myself over top of those things. So, or flipping over. So, that made it a lot easier to do it that way. And then pulling the sled as well, too. Just going backwards and pulling it. And on turf, that really burns. If you ever want a good arm workout, just sit in a chair and push for a while. It'll burn. You eventually won't feel your arms after a while, which then you just keep pushing and you're fine. Until the next day, and then you can feel them again. Any questions? Yeah. Usually 2 to 3 times a week, especially during basketball season, because I go practice once a week, and then sometimes I help out with the kids team. So I'm sometimes in the gym 2 or 3 times a week, and then go to play practice 2 or 3 times. And as I said, it's back down to shoulder health. Plus, I used to do it like 5 times a week, and it's just too much on the arms. I mean, we don't have leg day. Leg day is nap day for me. That's the greatest day of all. So. I do it on my own sometimes. I just have to adapt the way that I lift when I do it on my own. Like, for example, when I go to California every year, I mentioned I go away for a month. I have a trainer with me at that point in time, so I adapt a lot of what I do, either compound movements, meaning chin-ups if I can find a place to do them, or things where I can keep my balance. Because, right now, I can chest press 40 pounds. I don't have the abs to grab the 40-pound dumbbells, lower myself down onto the bench, then put it on my chest and do it. And I tried to do it just laying down, and I got tore my bicep tendon. So we nixed that idea. So I just go high rep, and try to go to failure, hypertrophy, and distance. So that's what I try to incorporate when I'm doing it on my own. Feel a little bit safer. Not hurt myself.
So is your trainer and you just figuring this out as you go, or
we are? Yeah, she's brainstorming it as trying to figure out the functional side of it. I mean, she hasn't worked with anybody before in a chair, and she has the guts, and I'm very thankful that she's willing to take it on. I mean, it's not an easy project. It scares a lot of people, and a lot of people don't know what they're doing. They think they're going to hurt me, or they think I'm some fragile glass sculpture. And I'm like, no, we can go after it. I mean, we push hard when we go. We do an hour, 2 twice a week, and it's a struggle to get out of this chair back into this one when I'm done. But it keeps going. I can't figure it out. It's
it keeps going?
yeah,
That's good.
it's going. Anybody? All right, well, I'll hop in the chair real quick. As I said, each chair is built to a different specification, kind of based on your disability level. Mine, I have my front at 19, and then I have my back seat at 17 inches, meaning that there's a 2-inch dump, is what they call it in the chair. The 2-inch dump is so I sit back in the chair better, and I don't fall over as easily, and it gives me this more stability. And then I also have my center of gravity move forward a little bit, the farther back you move your center of gravity, the faster you spin. So you can slide this whole backrest backwards in the chair. And so you kind of adapt what you don't want to do. The big difference between this chair and this chair is everything. No, I'm joking. This one fits for doors, this one doesn't. This one is a lot lighter and built for speed. This one is certainly not. This one gives me a better wheel balance, so I'm able to balance better. I used to play in this chair. It was horrible. It was the worst year of my life. Yeah, go for it. I use this chair, yeah, because this provides stability for me that this one doesn't. Like I can, once I get in here, I strap in, I'm belted in, I've got the backrest, I got the side guards holding me in, I've got everything kind of balancing me. Versus if I'm in this one, I'm kind of like, well, you know, losing balance, and I look like one of those things at the car wash. Just don't want these. It's not pretty. Let's just say that. So.
So that seat height is 19.
Seat height is 19 in the front, 17 in the back. And then, as I said, different guys change it.
21 is the highest.
21 is the highest, and then it's based on your classification level. You can add a certain amount of inches to your seat cushion. So your class 1, I think you can have 3 and 4. I don't add that much because I don't want that much in my seat cushion. If you're class 4, you only have a 1-inch cushion. And it goes down, so you can add extra inches. Depending, some guys like certain cushions. I use this type of cushion just because it doesn't have pressure sore problems because I can't feel from below my belly button. So I don't know if I'm sitting too long in one spot. And pressure sores, as they say, take 30 seconds to get and 4 years to heal. They really do. I mean, you get one and it is impossible to heal. But I've figured it out. So I've had a few in my time. None on my body, thankfully, but a lot of my hips. And, you know, they're not treated. People die. I've had some guys die. But,
Well, that is how it's for you.
Christopher Reeves died. We had another guy from Courage Center that I knew from basketball that died from a pressure sore. So they're nasty little things. And they can burrow all the way down to your tailbone if it goes enough and it'll leave your skin. And, yeah, so you gotta take care of them. Big time. As I said, I got infections from the foot, just the right. So it's even, one little nick in Las Vegas can give you 3 infections. Isn't that fun? Last. So as you saw, the wheels pop on really easily. That's so you can take them off, put it through the door, and then put it back on. They also do that so that if you pop a tire, you break spokes, you break a rim, whatever, you pop the tire off. You have a spare one, you pop it right back on. It's like NASCAR, and you just go again. So I usually carry at least one spare wheel because I've been breaking, wheels. I'm not heavy enough. Some of the bigger guys will break rims, spokes, everything. I put it up against the wall just because I don't have brakes on this, so it'll roll away if I don't anchor. So I anchored against the wall, lock this chair so this one stays, and then just transfer over. You'd be surprised how long that took me to learn how to do that. About 3 years, 2-3 years. A lot of guys when guys that came to practice, just 60 years old, just retired, got paralyzed, and literally can't get out of his chair. Like, they have to help him get out of his chair because it's a science of transferring everything. So you don't take things for granted.
Well, you have to have enough strength.
Yeah, you have to have the tricep strength in order. I mean, people think they have strength until you get in the chair, and then you're like, okay, this is a lot different strength. Because I tell people, when I go train, I train in the morning now because if I train in the nighttime, I've used my arms all day for everything. I've used the shower, I've used the transfer of the things, I've used the getting in and out of the car. My arms are dead by 8 o'clock at night if I don't. So I don't go work out at night anymore. I try to do it as early in the day as possible. Some guys will strap their feet down just so they don't lose them. I won't strap it. It make it a lot easier. These are just actually snowboard bindings. So use these to click down. Because you want to stay attached to your chair. It's a lot more painful to go out the chair. I'll tell you, it hurts. So you want to stay attached to your chair because it kind of keeps you down and in the chair. As I said, this chair, I can spin a lot faster with it. It makes it a lot easier for me to move. And then
Two pounds?
2 bounces, and then you push. But as you saw, none of those guys. So like you saw, I'm just keeping the ball out here. I never put the ball in my lap. When you're first learning, it's this. It's so funny because all the people that came to that open gym that were able-bodied, they all put the ball in their lap and then they go 1, and then they did 1, and then you just come by and you take the ball right out of their lap and it's gone, and they're like, wait, where did the ball go?
Can't do that.
So but I mean, they're just learning. So it's 1, 2 when you start, and then you put, and then 1, 2, and then you push. And technically, I can just push 2, roll all the way down the court, and I dribble again if I wanted to.
But you can steal it.
You can steal it if it's sitting in your lap. So a lot of guys keep it out here just because there's a guy right here. It's a lot easier for you to keep the ball over here and you can touch it over here. Unless they have 8 arms. My college roommate had 8 arms, so he was able to get it right here. But a lot of people don't. So as I said, it's easy, a lot easier to keep it out front. They put the guardrail in the front just because so you don't get hooked on each other, caught on each other. As you can see, they take a beating. These chairs, they grind it. You break them. They break the welds all the time. I saw one guy split his axle. Like this bar right here in the middle. It's the thickest bar, and the chair split it in half. And this got hit, and the whole chair is done. And you can't re-weld them because then you lose the integrity of the steel and the aluminum. So you got to go buy a whole new chair. Unfortunately, which is a cost. So, any questions? Yeah, I do. Yeah, so a lot of people ask me that question. So flying's a process in the chair. Let me just say that first and foremost. Obviously the 2-hour rule doesn't apply when you're in a chair because going through TSA is like a nightmare. Because they pat you down everywhere. Poor Bolton. They thought he had something in his chair. They stopped him for an hour in Las Vegas. And he's so blunt, so he just finally goes, I think they're just racist. And I'm like, dude, that's not the thing to say. Like, just get through the thing, you're fine. Like, just be quiet. No. But it's besides that though. Once you get to the plane, just tell them that you need an aisle chair. Some of us do, some of us don't. I need an aisle chair. So what they do is they put you on this really skinny chair, about as skinny as this thing without wheels, and they roll you through the aisles on that chair, then you transfer into the seat. The only thing is that on the first one on, and the last one off, so your 3-hour flight is really about 4.5 by the time everybody stop bringing on carry-ons to everybody. Put them under the plane and walk off the plane. But no, so it's a lot, and then when you have a lot of guys in chairs, we all fly as a team together. They got 8 people, they're losing their mind. They got 8 people in a wheelchair. How do we get everybody off? Well, one at a time. Usually how this goes. So, and then on long flights, like when I went to Australia, they have an aisle chair on board, and then what they do is they just put you in the seat, and then they really do the bathroom, and then you go to the bathroom, and a lot of us stop doing that because there's no really good place to sit in the bathroom when you're in a chair, and then my luck, we hit turbulence on the way there, and so I'm in the bathroom with no ab muscles, sitting on the steering wheel, bouncing around trying to go to the bathroom, like, nope, next time we're good. So a lot of us that, obviously paraplegics, I don't know how much you know about them, but a lot of us catheterized, right? So a lot of us actually just go in bottles. Like we just pull a blanket over our head and just go in the bottle because it makes it a lot easier. I'll tell you, nothing is easier than a car ride with all paraplegics in it. Because none of us ever have to stop for the bathroom. We never have to stop. We just all can just keep going all the way through. We did a 16-hour car ride once in like 14 hours. It was wonderful. I was like, just keep going, guys. So, no, but hopefully that answered.
Do you ever bring your basketball chair?
I do, yeah.
How does that work?
So I just take it through security with me. I never check the chair. That's the number one rule. Never check the chair. They will lose it. They will lose it. They will either lose it or damage the chair, and they won't pay for it. No, they will, but sometimes they happen for other guys. Like one of our guys, we went to Australia, and his chair got sent to Japan because he checked it. And I was like, dude, why did you check the chair? And everybody knows number one, bring your chair with you.
Because
at
then
all
you
times.
can.
Yeah, and you can actually have. I mean, if you don't have your chair, you have nothing. Like this guy didn't, he could walk, so he didn't have a chair. When he got there. So luckily they flew it overnight, got it the next day, and was able to play. But it's so yeah. So you just bring it to the gate. You tell them you need to gate check it, and then they put the little red tags on it because sometimes if you're lucky, you can just put a little in. They bring the chairs back up after.
John, do you wanna?
Yeah, add any perspective.
So,
John and I, I'll tell you a little bit. So John and I ended up meeting when I was in fourth grade, and then we didn't know really any better through a mutual friend. And then I don't know, it was what junior year. Yeah, I was not paralyzed when we originally knew each other, and then I got paralyzed, and then in junior year of high school, we ended up having the same English
freshman.
class. No, it was Fulmer. Really?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but we ended up really reconnecting in Miss O'Brien's class in 11th grade. Yeah, he loves me.
Favorite teacher from high school.
Yeah, favorite teacher. Loved her so much. No, but anyway, John and I ended up meeting it, and then we kind of had a mutual bond because we both didn't want to be in school, so we ended up going down to the girls' state basketball tournament just to skip school, and ended up becoming friends from that point on. And, so, but one of the big things that happened when I did get paralyzed, is I've lost almost all my friends. I had like one or two that stuck by me, but the rest of them were just gone. And I get it. You're 10 years old. You don't know how to adjust to a different lifestyle, right? And I always tell anybody that it takes, number one, a special person to see past that chair, and then it really takes a special person to be able to be, in a relationship with somebody in a wheelchair. Because yeah, it's a different lifestyle, but it's not the end of the world. Like if I could tell you the things that have been told to me on different things, you wouldn't believe like the things that I've been told. Like people think that they need to take care of me all the time. Like, it's like, well, I need to take care of you. I'm gonna need to feed you. I'm like, nope, my arms work just fine, thank you. I'm gonna need to take you to the bathroom. Nope, I can still do that on my own. Like I'm completely independent, guys. Put myself in bed, get up in the morning, feed myself, make my own food. Better cook than most people. I have that going for me. I get front row parking. So, I mean, there's benefits, but a lot of people, it's just a stigma that we put out in our society that if you're in a chair, number one, if you're in a chair, you're mentally handicapped. You have no idea how many people that walk up to me and talk like mentally and say they're all slow. Sometimes I screw with them and respond really slow. Sometimes I just go right out of the gate and just scare the crap out of them. But it's a stigma that that a lot of us are trying to break because we just want people to understand, listen, it's not like, and people get paralyzed and then people end up leaving and like that's not the end of the world. Like, it's a different life, yes, it certainly is. Well, there's a lot of great things about being in a chair, and a lot of guys who are in chairs have had to go through, and even women who are in chairs have had to go through a lot. I mean, some of the stories that you will hear, I'm going to tell you guys that there's a, slide, do it. Oh, wait, anyways, there's a documentary out right now you should watch. It's the last slide. It's called The Rebound. It's on Netflix. Check it out. Just came out, and it's about the Miami Hot Wheels wheelchair basketball team. I know some of the guys just from my years of playing basketball, and they all tell their stories. You'll be fascinated by the stories that these guys tell. I mean, 3 of them got shot and ended up, and later in life, we're talking like 17, 18 years old, and had to completely readjust their life. But they made the best of it. These guys get up every morning as a team. Now, this is a men's team, right? You're not required to, like you're on college. They get up every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. They go to a parking garage. They pull each other behind each other up the parking garage. Like that's their training every day. Like they do training like that, they play together all the time, and they will all talk about this thing, how basketball basically saved their life. Because it gave them an outlet to talk to guys that understood what they're doing and it gave them a purpose in life. So that's kind of what I do with Kathy's class each year is that whatever you do in your life, enjoy it, number one, and find your purpose. Alright? And then put everything you have into that purpose. Because once just as somebody's died once and almost died another 2 or 3 times, life is beautiful. I mean, I got so depressed for those 2 years where I couldn't do anything, and I thought, well, this is the worst that it could be, and God showed me that it's not the worst it could be. I don't want to say He did it to me, but I got to prove to myself that it could always be worse. And so anytime I'm feeling bad in the hospital, or I'm stuck in the hospital or whatever, I just have my mouth really through the cancer here. A lot of those people aren't going to be there. A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, right? So I was just grateful to wake up every morning. I mean, when I get up every morning, I'm just happy to be alive. It's a new opportunity, a new day to do something good and to really make an effect on it. And that's, I mean, that right there is a blessing in itself. So whatever you do, love what you do, and always, try to make somebody else's life better. That's my mission. Right? I want to make other people. I want to improve lives of people in church. I want to improve other people's lives. I want to make an impact on people. To try to show them that, hey, yeah, you're gonna have setbacks. You're gonna have rough times, but it can only get worse. Dead is how bad it can get. Any questions? So you can ask me anything. Too scared to ask me anything, I'll leave my email or phone number at the end of this. I've actually had a couple of Kathy students reach out to me over the years, ask questions. I've had a couple, actually, I don't know if you remember Chris. He ended up reaching out. Chris did? Yeah, he ended up reaching out, and we're going to try to get together to. I told Chris, I'll meet you a lifetime. I'll get you guys in when we get past me. If you guys want to see what I train, learn different exercises, I'm telling you guys, there's a huge market for somebody that knows how to train people in wheelchairs properly. A huge market. If people don't, and they're either too scared to do it, or they just don't know how to do it. And there's a big market. So I would encourage you to, if you're interested in going down that path, go down that path. But as I always leave with the message every year, the main takeaway, as you do your work, whatever you guys end up doing, I understand a lot of your kinesiology, PT, OT students, whatever, erase the word disability and find the capability in that person. So block it out of your mind that person's disabled. And go, okay, let's look at the glass half full, and what can that person do? Right? What are they able to do? Can they move this limb? Can they move that limb? Even if they can just move their hand, how can we start with this hand and move up? Go from there. There's always somebody's ability, right? You can go from there, and then build on that, expecting more. If you have an open heart and expect more out of something, I'm telling you, things will come your way from personal experience. If you don't expect it, you're just shut down opportunities and possibilities in your life. And like I said, life's really short, as I've learned. I hope it will be a lot longer, but life can be short, and so take advantage of every moment that you have. And then on our last page, as I said, contact me anytime. That's my email, phone number. I'm serious. If you have any questions, you didn't get to touch on anything today, you don't want to ask something, because boggleness of it, feel free to ask. I know one question that you guys can ask. Yes, I can drive. I have a van with hand controls, and it has a ramp that comes down my front seat, turns sideways and back, and then I'm able to hop into that chair, and then be able to turn forward and drive. So that's something that sometimes people ask. And then on Facebook, I'm under Robert Doyle, and then Instagram under Rob_Doyle. I kind of post my wheelchair stuff along the way. If I'm traveling, I'll post stuff like that, just because sometimes you go to places and, like we recently went to a Hampton Inn, and they said, oh, this is an accessible room. So I got in the room, and the counter is right here. I couldn't even see my head. So I went downstairs and I said, explain to me what part of this is ADA. I have a roll-in shower. Okay, well, that's great, but I can't see myself. I can't get to the sink. I can't do anything. I'm like, do you guys have somebody like come in and consult you on this stuff? And, well, we just made it to the ADA specification. Nailed it. And then this is Becca Bickle. She is the sports and rec coordinator at Courage Canyon. If you want to get a hold of Becca, she can help you either find a place within Courage Center to try and work with the sports program. If you want to volunteer somewhere else, maybe in the therapy unit, stuff like that, she can get you in contact with the right people, either herself or the other volunteer coordinator. I've had several people over the years reach out to me or her to try to get placed in something. And if you want to experience something
Pretty
pretty
close to here too.
it is. It's in Golden Valley, so it's not really that far. To be quite honest, and it's a lot easier. So, ask any questions? All right, cool. Thank you.